Great Ocean Road, the most infamous coastal drive in Australia. Every year, thousands of tourists flock to Victoria to see and experience all it has to offer. With breathtaking landscapes from start to finish, it definitely has become a bucket list item to visit when doing a lap of Australia. In this episode, we're going to take you from start to finish and give you a glimpse of what all the fuss is about. Well, here we are.
Hello!
Great Ocean Road.
Yep. Little mini adventure.
Little mini adventure. We've been parked up in Melbourne for the last, month and a half or something. Just chilling, helping Shelby's family move house, and
all the fun things,
I went to work and did some work, because you got to make money.
Somehow, some way.
Somehow, some way. But yeah, so we're doing the Great Ocean Road. We're actually not at the very start of it. The start of it is obviously at Torquay. We're
just past Anglesea.
We just passed Anglesea, so yeah, we are cruising along, checking out all the scenic views.
Yep.
And tonight we are staying in Appollo Bay, but we've got a few stops along the way to show you as we go. Yep. So yeah, we're just going to keep cruising and take you along for the little adventure.
Cruising.
I don't know if you've noticed the little fluffy things hanging from our shirts now.
Yeah, hopefully you can hear us a bit better now.
So this episode is sponsored by my parents. They bought us these because they were sick of not being able to hear us in our videos. So thanks, Mum and Dad.
Thanks, Kevin Val. The Great Ocean Road starts at Torquay and ends at Port Fairy. We are doing the trip spread over 2 days, with our stop in the middle at Appollo Bay. The majority of the tourist destinations are between Appollo Bay and Warrnambool, so our first day of driving consists of sitting back and cruising through the winding road and just soaking in all the amazing coastline. As this is our first time on the Great Ocean Road, we couldn't believe the amount of small towns that we passed through along the way.
So we made it to Appollo Bay.
Sure did.
Which is pretty much the halfway point on the Great Ocean Road. It was a pretty good little drive, quite curvy and hilly and tight, but it was also really beautiful.
Lots of cliff ocean views and driving through the bush and the ocean's on the other side, and it was pretty cool. Some tight corners in Old Schnitty, but it was a cool drive.
It was definitely worth it so far. It's one of those trips that you could sort of do, you could probably do the whole thing in a day if you wanted to, or what we're doing is we're splitting it up over 2 days, or if you wanted to, you could even, take your time and stop at a few more towns.
Yeah, you could spend a couple of weeks here if you wanted to. It just depends what you want to do. There's heaps of stuff.
There's a heap, we probably went through about 10 little towns along the way from Torquay to Appollo Bay, and they've all got, little Airbnbs or caravan parks or...
Yeah, most of them are right on the water too.
So yeah, so far it's been pretty good. Tomorrow we're heading from Appollo Bay to Warrnambool. So that's probably, I think it's a shorter drive than it was today. But there's some more good things to go see along the way. You got the 12 Apostles and oldest lighthouse in Australia that we're going to check in and have a look at. Yeah.
All the touristy things.
All the touristy stuff.
Yep.
It's actually surprising. It's quite quiet considering, obviously this is like one of the most well-known coastal drives in Australia.
It's pretty cold though.
But I think it's because obviously we're not doing it in peak season. Peak's normally summer, whereas we're coming into winter now, but it's still pretty nice. It's probably better, to be honest, because
you should see our view. It is ridiculous.
Have a look at that.
We're just sitting on the beach here in Appollo Bay. Where are we?
Appollo Bay.
Appollo Bay. And that's the view.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for our adventures today. Yeah, we'll bring you with us nice and early tomorrow when we head off.
Not nice and early.
Early-ish.
Not early-ish.
At some point when the sun comes up. So yeah, see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Day 2.
Yep, we've just left Appollo Bay.
Heading towards Warrnambool.
Yep.
It's only like an hour and a half drive, I think.
So, we've got a heap of stops lined up along the way.
Yep. This is this leg of the trip is where all the famous stuff is. So you got the 12 Apostles, London Bridge,
Gordon Steps.
We were going to go to the Otway light station, but apparently because it is the off season now, it's only open
Tuesday to Friday.
Friday to Tuesday.
And of course, we're here on the 2 days of the week.
And it's not open.
But it's not open. So, we had to scratch that one off the list, but that's okay.
So I'm sure we've got plenty of other stuff we can go see, so...
Yeah. And we're taking you with us.
Aren't you lucky?
Aren't you lucky?
You get to see it all from the comfort of your living room.
Well, come along for the ride.
See you shortly. The first stop after we left Appollo Bay is Gibson Steps. On this part of the journey, the Great Ocean Road heads inland through the western Otway Forest, a change of scenery from coastline to lush hills and thick forest. There is quite a significant change in elevation, and at one point of the drive we were surrounded by fog. This part of the trip was still beautiful and even a little eerie. Well, here we are, first stop.
We're here, we made it.
Gibson Steps, which is pretty much right next to the Apostles. We can sort of see a couple of them just from here. How was that drive, Shelby?
Horrible. Never again. Beautiful. Unbelievably beautiful. But not keen on windy, hilly type roads, and the Otways was exactly that. So
I think you were pretty good until we got to, I think it must have been the top of the, I don't know,
yeah,
the range or whatever.
Yeah,
and then we sort of started driving through fog,
not a fan.
driving through the clouds, and that was it. That was Shelby done.
Yeah. Get a bit nervous, and I don't like it.
Yeah, so this is Gibson Steps. Hate to come here during peak. Like, the car park is full and there's people everywhere, and this is off peak. Can't imagine what it would be like during the middle of summer.
It'd be mayhem.
It'd be absolutely nuts out here.
Mayhem, and you can see the lookout for the 12 Apostles. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, and it is crammed with people. So, and that's meant to be our next stop, so that's going to be interesting.
So we're going to make our way back up the steps and drive 200 metres down the road and go check out the Apostles now.
How good.
Let's go.
The 12 Apostles, actually the 7 Apostles. This stop is probably the most well known along the Great Ocean Road, as you can tell by the amount of other people we pass. Once 12 limestone stacks, now reduced to 7 visible stacks due to erosion. That's an apostle. Apostle. One off. You're welcome.
After the Apostles, the next stop is Loch Ard Gorge and the Ridgeback, which is only a 5-minute drive up the road. Alright, we've made it to Loch Ard Gorge.
Sure has.
After fighting the masses of the Apostles, it's a bit more chill out here.
Absolute mayhem.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the Apostles, shall we?
You know, some big rocks coming out of the ocean. Pretty, I mean, it's obviously cool, but just another rock, really.
Just another rock. So far it's been pretty interesting. But yeah, it's one of those things that you can just be like, yeah, been there, done that, seen that. Tick it off the bucket list.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. The views are spectacular. It's just another one of those things, isn't it?
I'd much rather be down in the water. Fishing or...
Should have bought the rods.
Yeah, there'd have to be some fish down there, surely.
Scale some rocks, I reckon. We're probably going to jail, but we can do it.
Oh, let's go see what the rest of this joint has to offer.
Once you have taken in the sights of Loch Ard, London Bridge is the next stop of the journey, getting its name from the famous London Bridge in England. The arch that used to connect the limestone stack to the mainland collapsed in 1990, and believe it or not, two tourists were actually on the stack when the bridge collapsed and had to be rescued by helicopter.
Next on the list is probably one of our favourite stops along the Great Ocean Road, the Grotto. A short walk from the car park, you start to think that you are just walking to another cliff face when a staircase down the rocks brings you to nature's window to the ocean. This was actually one of the quietest stops on our adventure, which was great because it gave us a chance to soak it all in.
Our last stop before we headed to our camp for the night just outside of Warrnambool was the Bay of Islands. A nice final spot before calling it a day. There are still plenty of other cool areas to be explored along the way, but by this point it was getting on in the day and we were ready to park up.
Well,
hello!
There we have it.
Done and dusted.
That's Great Ocean Road in 2 days. We are now pulled up at, what's it called?
The Cozy Stopover.
Cozy Stopover, which is just a little farm stay just outside of Warrnambool.
Yeah, well, we're 5 minutes from Childers
Cove.
Yeah, that one.
So yeah, it's just a little farm stay that we found on Wikicamps.
Big chunky cows.
Yes, we've got cows and llamas. Alpacas. Unbelievable. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of our journey on the Great Ocean Road. Obviously, Great Ocean Road finishes officially in Port Fairy, but we stayed there a few weeks back.
Just before we went to Melbourne.
And it's sort of, there's not really a whole lot. Well, there is a lot to see and do in Port Fairy. There's heaps of, shops and restaurants and cafes and all that sort of stuff. But for us, it was mainly about just going and doing the Great Ocean Road and seeing all the sights on the road.
Yeah, so we thought we'd pick somewhere a bit different, considering we stayed in Port Fairy already. So we thought we'd pick somewhere that we hadn't stayed yet.
Yeah, somewhere sort of out of the way, out of town. It's obviously way cheaper than the caravan parks. Caravan parks in most of these towns are pretty
redonkulous.
Yeah, pretty expensive.
I think the cheapest quote I got was like $68 for a night or something like that, and that's one night. So
yeah, that's that brings us to the end of the trip. hope you got some good ideas and, you know, got an idea of what you could do if you're coming down the Great Ocean Road.
Where you can stop, things to see.
It's definitely one to check off the bucket list.
Yeah, there was a couple of really cool places.
Yeah, like the Grotto, that was probably our favourite, eh?
Yeah, that was definitely the favourite. It's really pretty.
Cool little window through the rocks. But it does start to get to the point, like today, there was a couple of places that we didn't stop, just because it starts to become a bit of a, you know, same, but different sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just, you know, beaches with a bunch of
rocks
coming out of the water. But no, it was still cool to see. So yeah, that's it.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks when we officially hit the road full time again.
Yeah, we'll be heading up to Bright to go to the snow, so
hopefully it snows.
Yeah, hopefully we get some snow and we'll have some cool snow adventures.
Otherwise we'll be really sad.
Yeah, thanks for tagging along. Comment on the video what you thought was the best spot and the spot you'd like to visit the most. Alright, see ya!
Bye.